Magna hands Cain the map of the mansion and its keys, which Cain is delighted to receive. Just then, Duke Eric walks into the room and challenges Cain to a game of shogi. After him, many other men were in line to challenge Cain to shogi, much to his shock. After getting done with playing shogi, Cain heads to the mansion, which seemed to be in a terrible state. Cain then decided to clean and repair the mansion with his magic. After that, Sylvia, Colin, and a bunch of other maids come to Cain and explain to him that they'll be serving him from now on. When Sylvia guides the maids to clean the mansion, they tell her how everything is super clean and there's not even a speck of dust anywhere. Cain revealed to them that he had already managed cleaning everything with his magic. Colin then reminded Cain to return to Lord Graham's mansion as his older brothers were coming home. Later, after lunch with his family, Cain takes his parents and Renee to his mansion, who are impressed to see how Cain has transformed it completely. When they hear the maid screaming, they rush towards them and find out that Cain had placed a red dragon in his mansion, as he had defeated it earlier. Later, Cain's mother and Renee are surprised to see the kind of toilet he has had at his mansion, as it shoots water. Cain's father then explains to him that he must throw a party in celebration of owning a mansion. Later, Colin presents Cain with a list of guests he's supposed to invite to the party, and one of them is Marquis Corgino, which Cain doesn't seem to be fond of. At night, Cain and his workers start arranging food and cutlery for the party. Colin then informs Cain about the message from the royal palace. The next day, he's sitting in front of the king, Magna, and Eric. The king was not happy about Cain inviting Eric and Magna to the party and not him. In his defense, Cain didn't know if the king was busy or not, so he wanted to give the invitation to him in person. Cain then handed the invitation to the king. The king then revealed to him that he would be bringing Telestia, while Eric added that he would bring Silk with him. The night of the party arrives and Cain welcomes his guests warmly. The king arrives and is pleased by everything in Cain's mansion. Later, Marquis Corgino arrives and humiliates Cain for every little thing. However, when he sees the king present at the party, he's shocked. The king warns Marquis about his rotten behavior, and Marquis assures him that he understands and leaves. The next day, Cain comes across Vice Captain Dame and tells him how Magna had instructed him to leave some monster material in the king's mansion. Dame then guided him to a room, which Cain found too small for the materials. Dame is shocked to learn that Cain has an earth dragon that even an A-ranked adventure party is unable to take down alone. Cain then summons all of the monsters he had defeated in a large group outside, impressing Dame. As Cain is about to leave, Dame stops him and asks him for help regarding the knight's training. Dame then introduces Cain to his group of knights. The knights start their training immediately but are interrupted by their captain, Tifana, who gets mad at the knights for pointing their swords at a child. However, when she learns about Cain defeating 30 orcs earlier, she gets excited to duel with him. Both of them then start their duel, and Cain seems to go head-on with Tifana even with his wooden sword. In the end, Cain wins the duel by catching Tifana off guard. Tifana is so impressed that she announces her decision to marry Cain. However, Cain was not a fan of this idea since he needed to consult with a lot of people before he could make this decision. Tifana then tells Dame to arrange an audience with the king as she decides to speak to him on this matter. But letting the king hear something like that was the last thing Cain wanted. Later, when Tifana informs the king about her decision to marry Cain, he's shocked and asks Cain to explain to him what has happened between them. After he explained everything to the king, he informed Tifana about Cain being already engaged to Telestia as well as Silk. Tifana gets excited and announces that this makes her want to marry Cain more, since he was recognized by the king himself. The king then tells Tifana to write a letter to his father and get his permission first. After Cain and Tifana leave, the king gets suspicious of Cain for not being an ordinary boy. Magna then suggests the king to test Cain. After a few days, Cain comes across Dame and tells him how exhausted he feels after going on dates with Tifana every single day. After that, Dame takes Cain to the king who wanted to see him. The king presents Cain with an emperor-level magic text that he's excited to read. The king then explains to Cain that only Cain was able to read the text because it was written by the first king of the nation, named Yuyatera Hirasawa Esfort in Japanese. The king then asks Cain about his true identity. Cain has no option but to reveal his story of reincarnation to everyone. Everyone around him is shocked. Cain further shocks everyone by revealing to them the fact that he has met the 7 gods as well. When he opens his status before everyone, everything is clear to them. When the king told him how his role would change before the people, Cain requested him to treat him the same way as he did before because he liked it that way. Just then, Tifana walked in with the permission letter from her father to marry Cain. Later, Telestia and Silk confront Cain for getting engaged to Tifana. Just then, Tifana appears and takes him away for their date. While reading the text, Cain learns that Yuya came to this world after getting involved in an accident. Unlike Cain, he came to that world in his original form. Just then, Celestia and Silk appear there, asking him if he is studying for the upcoming exam and wanted to join him, as he escapes both of them. He is approached by Tifana along with Dame, but he evades them as well. As the day of his 12th birthday arrives, Cain is all ready to register himself as an adventurer. He goes to the guild and bumps into Claude, who advises him to be careful and not do anything reckless. After that, Cain registers himself as an adventurer under the guidance of the guild girl, Radia. Soon, a group of adventurers show up and attempt to bully Radia and Cain. As things heat up between them, Claude arrives and puts an end to their bullying. He then takes Cain with him to get some drinks. Later, while having drinks, Claude tells Cain that the party he belongs to is Ice Flame, as he uses flame magic and his wife uses ice magic. As they are talking, Claude's wife Lena walks in and gets mad at Claude for disappearing out of nowhere. Cain then introduces himself to Lena and she finds him very cute. After that, Lena drags Claude away with her on a quest. Later, Cain returns to a guild and finds a quest for himself. As he goes out, he bumps into Tifana and Dame. Tifana decides to tag along with Cain on his first adventure. As they go into the forest, they find a bunch of goblins they were supposed to eliminate. Tifana and Cain take out the goblins instantly. After that, green lizards come out of nowhere. Cain decided to defeat the lizards alone and ended up creating a big hole in the ground while doing so. Later, when Cain returns to the guild, he is summoned by Cedric, who couldn't believe that he took out so many green lizards. Cedric announced that he was going to revoke Cain's guild card as he attempted to cheat. But then the guild master Eden walks in. He was aware of Cain's background. Just then, Tifana walks in and it is revealed that Eden is Tifana's elder brother. Eden then tells Cain that he'll grant him an A rank if he defeats a bunch of bandits. Cain agrees. Meanwhile, Cain had been observed by the 7 gods, who discussed how Cain needed to be even more powerful since Aaron's seal was going to break soon. He was sealed 300 years ago, but if he breaks free, he will definitely wreak havoc. It's the day of Cain's entrance exam, and he heads to the examination room. Celestia and Silk were in a different room for their exam. Soon enough, all the students were given their exam sheets. Cain finds all the questions very easy and proceeds to finish them. After getting done with the written exam, the students were supposed to clear the magic ability assessment test. They're taken outside in the ground and are instructed to choose a target and direct their strongest spell at it. Cain asked the examiner if they could use the full power of their magic. The examiner affirmed that the area was covered with a defensive barrier. All the other students were casting weak spells, and their magic was not impressive at all. When it was Cain's turn, he shocked everyone with his powerful magic, even when he used a little bit of it. Next up, it was a swordsmanship exam, and the guild had sent a bunch of A-rank adventurers, including Claude, as special guests. When Claude notices Cain among the students, he decides to take him as his opponent. Both of them then started fighting intensely until they were stopped by the examiner. After that, Cain returns home after a long day at his entrance exam center, and Sylvia prepares a meal for him as his stomach starts growling because of hunger. Later, Cain is summoned by the king, who is surprised because Cain is able to use even emperor-level magic. The king also revealed that the reason why he couldn't see Celestia and Silk during his exam was that he went to the exam site of the commoners. He then told Cain to go check the result himself. As Cain was checking his results, Silk told Cain that he was at the top of their class. Celestia was second, and she was the third. When she leaves, Cain comes across Rain, who is delighted to see his brother. She informs Cain that he needs to prepare a speech, as he's the top student in his class. Meanwhile, Sylvia had been desperately waiting for Cain to come home and tell her about his result. As Cain arrived home, he told her that he was at the top of his class, which made her extremely happy. The next day, Cain goes to his school and meets up with Celestia and Silk. The girls love how handsome Cain looks in his uniform. Soon enough, the Royal Academy entrance ceremony begins. Cain is then called on the stage to give his speech as the top student in his class. Later, Cain heads to his class and sits between Celestia and Silk. After class, Cain and the girls come across a bunch of boys bullying Parma. The 3 of them then make the boys apologize to Parma for bullying her. When the girls notice how close Cain is with Parma, they decide to have a secret meeting with her, while Cain is told to sit in a corner. Just then, Cain hears somebody talking to him. The voice tells him to go to the library to meet him. Cain then heads to the library, but as he opens the door, he sees a house before him and is transported there. The man waiting for him was none other than the first King Yuya. We can't wait to find out what will happen in the coming episodes. Don't forget to smash that subscribe and like button and leave a comment down below.